This video is made for adult collectors because Windblade 2.0. Oh no, she slipped. That was terrible, I'm sorry. Legacy Slipstream. She caused a lot of kerfuffle when revealed because of her reuse of the Windblade mold. Now, a lot of us knew that Slipstream was going to be a Windblade redeco because it was in the listings and discussions and whatnot. However, some people didn't know, and they were upset. And I am too, sort of. Not because it's a Windblade reuse. Slipstream isn't a massively popular character, at least not one to get her own mold that would sell well enough to justify a brand new mold. But I wish there was just a little bit more change to the robot. The jet doesn't bother me being the same, it's the robot. Her being a deluxe though, I take no issue with because I always see her as being a little shorter. She's also Cyberverse universe Slipstream, and she was the same height as Windblade in the show, so it kind of has to be the same size to match that. This is Slipstream from Transformers Legacy United, and she looks striking. The colors are super well done with the vibrant Hex 02, B4, B9. I spent 10 minutes on that joke and it was terrible, but it's such a nice metallic shade of teal, and then this shade of purple is so lush. I wish the torso, like I said, had a little bit more tooling. I know the cockpit is there in the center and it's painted, but I wish it was a bit more defined and less looks like a tie. I also kind of feel for people who wanted ports on her shoulder pads for the null rays, though what I do rather than under her arms is peg them into the wings to have them look like they're coming from the arms but attached to the wings, similar to how the Bumblebee movie Seekers do it, where their null rays hang off the wings to sort of imply that they're there. And I also give her 4-pack Tarn swords because that means she can melee with Windblade. My buddy suggested that. Head sculpt is nice, but it doesn't really look like Cyberverse Slipstream to me. It looks like a more slim version of a Seeker head, which is pretty epic. Like, it looks cool, but I was kind of hoping for something a bit closer to the show because I actually liked the show, so I kind of wish this looked a little bit more like that. I think if it didn't have Cyberverse Universe written on the box, I would feel a lot better, but I'm falling for the Legacy bulkhead thing of it says Prime on the box and it doesn't look like the... I get it, but yeah. And then with Windblade, I don't know who I prefer more on this mold. It fits Windblade more, obviously, but the colors of Slipstream are so much nicer. I'm keeping both, but which one I end up liking more will determine what shelf each one goes on. But my eyes are always drawn to Slipstream more than Windblade, but Windblade fits the mold more. It's so, like, I'm so in between on which one I think is better. So Slipstream's posing is exactly the same as Windblade. If you've messed with Windblade, you know exactly how this is going to work. However, the wings, I want to talk about those briefly for a second. The wings here, they like to pop back like straight on mine. They don't like to stay back here a lot, and these, they're supposed to lock in, right? You see that little hole there that locks into that purple tab, but they get knocked out a lot easier than my Windblade does, and that is a tiny bit annoying, especially when you're plugging in or removing the guns. It can just come apart, and I'm not a fan of that. But the head is on a ball joint, so it can look left and right, up and down. Her chin does droop quite a lot lower than the actual ball joint, so it does bump into the collar. So she has to look up ever so slightly to get around the collar. It's a tiny little nitpick. Shoulders are on mushroom pegs. They can do a full 360 if the wings weren't there. They can go in and out. You have bicep rotation, single jointed elbow bend that bends a tiny bit under 90 degrees. She does have a wrist swivel. You do have a waist joint. The hips can go forward. They can go back. They can go in and out. You have thigh rotation. You have 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And as you can see, this leg does not like staying together, which is a little, this one's fine. This one though, it doesn't like to do the do, and it's a little frustrating because again, Windblade, at least my version of Windblade, doesn't really have this issue, but Slipstream does. So yeah, I don't know, it's probably just because this is not the first use of the mold and there's just going to be problems. That's always what happens, but it is a tiny bit annoying. Then you have an ankle tilt. Now, you can also do the cheat thing that you can do on Windblade where you can shift the legs up, because this one already wants to do it by itself, to get it looking like her leg is further up. Obviously, from other angles, it looks stupid, but from front on, you can take some cool photos with her in like some really dynamic sort of, oh look, now she's flying pose because her leg is so high up. Because I do wish the hips could go higher than that, but that's as high as they go, so you can kind of cheat it to make it look like it goes higher. But yeah, she's alright. She feels like build quality wise doesn't feel as good as Windblade to me. I kind of wish things just held together a little bit more solidly on this thing. So yeah, the robot is a bit of a mixed bag because she looks cool, but I wish they changed more. Then they changed nothing on the jet. Now the transformation to jet mode, again, exact same if you know Windblade. If you don't though, let's see how this works. So pull off the guns, then we're going to collapse the feet and fold the tail fins up. Get those up there, peg the legs together and the tail fin and fold out those little flaps. Then rotate the waist 180 degrees, straighten out the arms. We're then going to fold the wings straight. We're going to bring this up. I'm going to do this first. So we're going to shift the legs all the way back. So accordion them while getting that joint out. Get that smooshed into place. Then peg the hands into the back. There we are. Then peg this in. Peg this in. Come on. Why is, oh, there we go. That was weird. So once you have that done, we're going to peg the wings into the legs, then fold out the nose cone, open this up, fold this out, and then we're going to bring this over the head before you close it, and it will then just sort of hug the head as you go down, clip that together, fold out on the landing gear, and then the guns, I like to take them and plug them into the outermost ports on the wings. So we'll get that one in there, and then we'll get this one in here. Now the wings, you have to make sure that this 5mm port is perfectly lined up with the little gap on the wings, otherwise they don't sit flush. There we go. You got to make sure they like clip into place. And once you have that all done, just make sure the guns are pointed straight and not at her own face. And there you go, that's the jet. It's traditional Windblade style transformation. There's nothing really interesting about it, honestly. It just exists. It's there. Yay. It's a nice jet. I like how the colors are laid out. It feels a bit more chaotic, which makes sense because it's Slipstream. And it's a cool deco going from matte to shiny front to back. Though part of me does wish the Hex 02B4B9 was more along the... Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to call it teal from now on. Oh, man. I don't even know if that's the right color. I just used a color picker. It's just Windblade's jet, though, at the end of the day, just in purple and teal. But which one do you prefer? Personally, I do recommend this, but like... Sail, probably. If you don't have Windblade, then yeah, I get it. This is enticing. But if you already have Windblade, I don't think the new head, weapons, and colors justifies spending another 35 Canadian dollars again on this. Black Friday and holiday sales are going to be happening sometime soon. So there is always that if you want one, because like, she's not a bad toy. I just wish they changed more. Also, just an FYI, there won't be a video this Friday because I'm... The burnout's approaching and I don't want it to get any bigger than this. I want it to go away, so I'm going to stop for now and do something on Monday. But I also have a ton of cleaning I need to do, so like, yeah, that'll be nice. But that's my look at Legacy Slipstream. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.